We have a special guest on today's show. He's a music content creator, a big Bills fan, of course, and you can call him Corey, but he's better known as Notch Phoenix. Corey, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm just really happy that you guys are able to have me on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we're obviously happy to have you on our show, and I can just tell already you're a huge Bills fan. I see the shirt, the mug, the hat. You got it all put together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like how old are you? Where you're from? What you got going on right now?
So I'm originally from the New Jersey area. I'm still residing in New Jersey. Most
Mm,
of my family's from the Buffalo area, so I am one of very few Buffalonians that were raised away from family. So
mm.
I'm 29. I've been making music for quite some time, and I've been a Bills fan since birth because I didn't have a choice. I'm in a household full of Bills fans.
Right, right. Yeah, that stuff usually doesn't come by choice. At least for me, it wasn't by choice.
Yeah, I was very grateful to know the passion behind Bills Mafia from a very early age. So even when we had a little bit, our team wasn't exactly at a steady pace. I was like through and through just a diehard fan. And
Right,
so
right.
So that leads me into kind of my first question for you is just growing up, who would you say was like most influential for you in your Bills fandom?
Bruce Smith, without any hesitation. Bruce, for me, I was kind of, as you could tell, I'm a slightly large guy. I wanted to play defense when I got into my opportunity to play football, and I wanted to play defensive end. I wanted to like hit people. I wanted to be a threat, and I guess that personality and that energy that he put on the field, I wanted to be able to put that into the field that I played on, or however I carried myself every day. And I appreciated how he played. He was such a
You
monster.
must love seeing him showing up at training camp working with the young guys then.
As soon as Gregory Russo ended up landing, and he ended up having that video of Bruce Smith talking to him, I was just like, if he mentors him, like Gregory Russo and Boogie Basham are hopefully going to be very dynamic players on that roster once they fit that mold that they will hopefully figure out in a few years. So I'm really excited to see him, and plus he looks great for his age. Fantastic, such a fantastic looking person, especially after not playing for so long.
Looks
So
like he could still
it's
put up
great.
4 or 5 sacks in a season.
My mom gave me a call and she was just like, he looks like he could still like land like a good 8. Like she's been a big fan of his as well. So
For sure, for sure. And I know you said you're in the New Jersey area, so
yeah.
what's that like? Jets, like Giants country? What kind of territory are you in right now?
Um, I'm in the territory where it's a mix of both. It's also Eagles because I'm. Some people will argue with me about this, but I'm in Central Jersey, so it's like that middle between Pennsylvania and New York. So you get a mix of like Eagles fans, you get a mix of Jets. I see more Giants and Eagles fans than anything. But yeah, I'm pretty much in that awkward space between those
Mm,
three teams.
yeah, so it definitely sounds like you're a unique NFL fan in that area.
Oh yeah.
Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. There's surprisingly quite a few people from Buffalo that live at least in the surrounding area. I actually even got excited because I found out they had a beer from Buffalo that came out, the Pils Mafia Pilsner, and I like just even that, to me, I was excited about because the fact that Buffalo is bleeding into New Jersey like a little
Hmm.
bit, and it's gradually getting a little bit more popular. So I'm just excited to be the one of very few to be a true fan.
That's great to hear, and I can only imagine that you probably got a lot of flack for being a Bills fan, especially if you ran into Jets fans. Were you were
Yeah.
you were you able to? I mean, I don't know how far away Rutherford, East Rutherford Stadium or MetLife Stadium is from you, but are you able to go to any of the Bills away games when they play the Jets?
I am very torn about going to that stadium just because for me, and I was very excited when Josh Allen poked fun at playing the Jets and the Giants and kind of being like the one New York team. It's
Hmm.
because it's like for me, it's a New Jersey, but it's two teams that are claiming to be New York, and I'm not. I don't have any issues with any fan base with it, but for me, it was like Jets being the New Jersey Jets when they first started in their first year, and then instantly transition to New York. It kind of irked me a certain way growing up because it was like there wasn't any representation of New Jersey. So for me, Buffalo had always stayed true to their word and their values, and the fan base is always consistent. So for me, I tried to, that's what pulled me more towards Buffalo rather than being around those guys. But
Hmm.
I just feel torn about being in that stadium because I just don't want to have any issues with any Jets fans of me coming through. And I usually feel more comfortable at Orchard Park. So
Okay.
I like that answer. I like that answer, start to
yeah,
finish.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
I did, but real quick, I did watch Bills versus the Jets when Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez were still on the same roster at Orchard Park. I think it was like the last game of the season between the two, and the whole game everybody chanted Tebow all 4 quarters, and it was like relentless. And by the time he got in, threw threw the ball out, didn't even try to pass it to anybody. He just walked off, and we got what we needed. But I was just happy we got that W after that.
Hmm.
So
All right. So, all right. So, I mean, that's definitely a great memory. I can recall that game very well. Can you tell me what, maybe the most fond memory for you as a Bills fan would be?
mm, uh, I think my top one, and I hope this is like earlier, like when I was really trying to find myself as a Bills fan in New Jersey. Nate Clemens hitting Brady, like knocking his helmet off everything, like just hearing
Hmm.
the smack. Like for me, that gave me so much energy as a kid, and I just
Hmm.
wanted that to be just a consistent thing for the rest of my life, just watching them play.
Right, right. I can only imagine for you, it was almost kind of like that. How you said when you were watching Bruce, it invigorated you to want to be on the field and play like that. And then when you
Yeah,
saw that again, it was just kind of like, I need to do that.
yeah, yeah. I try to embody as much as I could when I got the chance to play football. I played defensive nose tackle, and we
Hmm.
ran. I'm trying to remember. We ran a 3-4, so I was the only person that was just haunting everybody in the middle,
Hmm.
and I just felt so proud because I wanted to be the reason why any team that we faced, they're like, we need to watch out for him. He's the problem. So I
Yeah,
wanted to embody that when I got the chance to bring Bills Mafia onto the field when I played.
right. You were basically Ed Oliver for Houston.
I hope this season he really has a breakthrough season because I I was a big fan of how he played because it was similar to
Hmm.
how I played, and I want to see that type of style on that roster just be so dominant.
Right, right. Are you concerned that Ed's not going to break out? Like we had a discussion with the Circling the Wagons podcast with Nate, and Justin and him were kind of going back and forth about how they felt about Ed Oliver, and I'm a very optimistic person when it
Yeah,
comes to Ed, just because defensive tackles, slow developing. He's, as we mentioned, a nose tackle, and now he's playing three tech. I I I think he's got the toolbox, and we can use the same narrative with Dawson Knox. As soon as he puts it together, man, it's gonna be dangerous, and that's what I'm banking on. And he's just so young, athletic, and I'm telling you, if it comes together, whoo.
I definitely agree with how you see it. It's I guess for me that is a tough position to be in, and especially at the time when he got into the league, there weren't as much solid players around him that were that were already established players, at least on the ends. So I feel like the big problem is that he was new, he was trying to figure things out, and unfortunately, I noticed this even after the last game. Some of the run game and in the middle is a little bit difficult because they seem to take advantage of the opening, and that's one thing I think that those guys really need to figure out. Overall, they're doing a fantastic job pressuring the pocket and trying to make sure that any quarterback that they're facing doesn't feel comfortable staying there. But I feel like with like Russo, with Jerry Hughes, with Epineza, like all those guys are going to be complementary players once they figure themselves out. I feel like it's going to be a complementary growing process with the whole defense. Because Oliver, when he's given a solid amount of players around him, he can make a lot of openings and pressure the pocket. And if you have Russo being a problem, they're going to veer more towards him because he big, raw talent. And once he figures that out, he's going to be a real problem. But then that gives Oliver an opportunity to make openings for himself to then really go for the kill. So he has, I saw a lot of potential last season. I think as long as we keep the momentum and as long as he stays focused and continues to improve, I think he's going to do very well this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. If, someone like Rousseau can develop quickly, that's just one more person that an offensive line has to devote attention to, and then you create more of those one-on-ones with Ed Oliver, potentially. Yeah. And if you, let's say, it vice versa, okay, Ed Oliver's having a breakout year, then you start having more people focusing on him, then you have more of those one-on-ones for Rousseau. It's a numbers game, and it's going to be a beautiful thing if it all comes together as Brandon Beane has planned. So let's move on to the next question here. Last preseason game, we played the Packers, but next week, this coming Sunday, we're playing the Steelers, as you know.
Yeah.
Are you pumped? How pumped are you?
I am beyond excited just because I'm finally seeing a little bit of a rivalry between these guys, and I think after what happened last season, like with the whole dancing on the logo thing, and I think that added a little bit more incentive for them to have. It's not like a negative hatred kind of rivalry. I think it's just like we're going to beat you this time, or like, no, you're not. Like, I feel like it's more friendly, competitive kind of rivalry. So I'm excited for it. I'm also, I'm really interested to see with some of the newer guys and how the defense and the offense are going to look with more established roster, how they're going to turn out facing against the Steelers.
Right. And I would say over the last 2 years, I noticed that there was a turn of, I guess, the tide when it comes to the Steelers, because I feel like the Bills always played the Steelers, and yeah, it makes sense. We're in the AFC with them, and every single time we played them, I swore we just got pummeled, or there was some type of defeating play out of that.
Yeah.
I think about the Stevie Johnson drop. I think about, that snow game where, what's his name, the running back who went to the Jets and then Kansas City, and now he's not there. Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, I think about how he had like a career game, like rushed over 250 yards and like 2 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
All those memories kind of just came back to me when, the Bills played them for the past Sunday night football games, and we came out on top both times.
Yeah.
And to me, that signaled a turn of the tide.
Yeah, of course.
That this hiring of new regime in front office, like, it's working. This is what a comparable front office looks like, and we're very lucky.
Yeah, I think around the time when that massive free agency move that we made when we picked up Cole Beasley, and I think it was overall 12 players within like 3 days. to me, that was like the change or the point where I knew something big was going to happen. Because as soon as Beasley got on the roster, I'm like, okay, like he's a fantastic route running player. And then once that transitioned into the Bills Steelers games, knowing with McDermott having a history with the Steelers head coach, and they had a rivalry, and I felt like that it was going to bleed from coaches to the players, and not just the players, but bleed into the whole overall franchise and the fan base. And I have fans, Steelers fans, that come up to me. I have the tattoo on my arm, and I'll have people look at it, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna beat you this year." And I'm like, "Why? Why are you trying to like start why are we beefing?" Like, I was like, for me, as long as you're not a Patriots fan, I'm cool. Like, we're on the same page. Like, there are two teams that work their butts off. They have kind of similar purposes, similar fan bases, and they have a lot of heart and known for their defense. So I'm just excited to see how they both turn out for this season.
Got to watch out what you say about the Patriots here, just
come
because
on.
Justin's marrying a Patriots fan.
Hey, look, I have no issues, but it's just
I do.
I'm trying not to ruin any chemistry between you and the missus, but
Yeah.
How did she feel? Wait, how did she feel about the billboard when we picked the location to be not too far from the Gillette Stadium?
So she's not like deep into the fandom, so I don't really remember getting a reaction from that. She has family out in Boston, and she was never a Bills fan growing up, and she wanted to support a team in Boston, and she's already a Yankees fan, so wanted to be the Patriots, but I mean the Bills are better, so it is what it is.
Hey, I mean, hopefully, if we end up winning a Super Bowl, I'm just saying that there might have to be a change in favorites. That's all I'm saying.
The guard. I'm working on it. But
hey, add it to the balance. That's all I'm saying.
Phoenix, tell me a little bit. We had the cut down to the 53 today. I think it's far from fully solidified. I think we're still going to see some moves. But who would you say was your biggest surprise cut today?
I think Hollister. Surprisingly, I think for me, Hollister, because Hollister had, I think, out of everybody on that roster, had a history with Josh Allen prior to the whole NFL experience. And when I saw him get picked, and along with Emmanuel Sanders, with his chemistry and with Cole Beasley, I was thinking that was going to be a chemistry building kind of year, and trying to add familiar faces and kind of add a little bit more want to have these guys that really put in work and add that drive to compete on and off the field. But I guess for me, Hollister threw me for a loop, because I thought he would have at least, either been on the 53-man roster. Is he, like, just out of curiosity, because is he going to be on practice squad, hopefully, or has none of that been announced just yet?
It's all up in the air.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we don't know. I would agree with you. I thought that Hollister had a real good chance of making this roster. I thought he had a pretty strong camp in preseason, but maybe it was more pedestrian than we thought.
Yeah.
And other people made the team. Now, as Justin alluded to, there can be roster moves made, and we know of one that's probably going to happen with Reed Ferguson, because he was cut, but Sal Capaccio himself said, like, don't expect him to sit on the street for too long.
Yeah.
That being said, is there someone who made this roster that you didn't think would make it?
Honestly, I feel like after watching kind of the growth of the solid 53-man roster that they've been building within the past, like, 4 or 5 seasons, I guess for me, it just, as of recent, I feel more comfortable and not questioning a lot of the guys that they've been putting on the roster. So I don't have anything or any player that comes to mind that I'm like, I don't know if they're really going to be a good fit because uh, like Dawson Knox, I love that man. He is a fantastic player. I know he's got things to figure out, and I know there was a bit of a concern of him not improving the way they want him to, and I know that's why they picked Hollister and a few other players, but I have 100% trust that he's going to do very well this season. And out of I don't really see any red flags for me or any concerns of like he made the roster. So I'm very confident with what they're doing.
Right.
All right, so got to give you the hard hitting question. Everybody that comes on the show has to answer it. Your chicken wings. Do you prefer the flat, the drum? How are you getting them sauced? What are you dipping them in? Where's the best place to get them in Jersey?
Without a doubt, I'm not doing ranch. Ranch. If somebody offers me ranch, I'm walking out. Like I've established that anytime I walk into a place, if we do ranch, I'm not eating it. Wings. I'm used to like when I was growing up, I used to go to Anchor Bar when I come to visit family. So I was used to like really good wings. Unfortunately, in New Jersey, it's a little tough trying to find places. There's a local shop that I would go to that's called Al John's. It's kind of a small mom and pop shop that's right around the corner from my house. So I would get wings that's the closest that I could get to good wings, but I can't say that they're good enough in comparison to like traditional like wings. I'm trying to think. I'd need to anytime I end up having my sauce, it has to be hot. Like I don't like mild is not an option. Like I need to make sure that my stomach's hurting later on, and I'm like, it was worth it. And drums or flats. That's the only tough part for me. Because no matter which one you give me, I'm going to scarf down. So, I would have to say, flats.
There we go.
I think I would have to say flats just because, once you have them set up, you can push them, knock everything out, and then easily pull it out with ease. With the blue cheese on there, it's fantastic.
I'm getting hungry.
Right. I mean, for me personally, I'm pretty ambivalent to drums or flat. As long as it's crispy, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this interview. Notch, do you have any questions for us? Where can the people find you?
Well, to start, you can find me on Instagram, Notch_Phoenix, NOTCH_ Phoenix. I also have music on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. I have a bunch of stuff. I just recently put out a song with Benny the Butcher as a host on my track. By the way, lovely guy. He's such a nice person. But yeah, trying to see. I think outside of that, just go Bills, and I don't know if I have any crazy questions. Actually, we didn't get the chance to talk about this. What were your favorite memories like on with the Buffalo Bills? Like, what was something that was very significant for you that remind?
Looks like we potentially lost you there, Notch, but hopefully we'll get you back here in a second.
I mean, I heard where he was going with the question, and I know my answer, and I think you know mine. It's that Kyle Williams retirement moment where McD took the timeout and pulled him off the field let the crowd give him a standing ovation. That was my favorite Bills memory.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going to go in a different route here. Most memorable Bills moment. There's like so many you can choose from, but I'd have to say that season where Josh Allen's rookie season, because that entire year was pretty miserable to be a Bills fan.
Yes, it was.
I told myself, if I can get through this season, I can get through it as as a Bills fan, and I can be optimistic of the future because I know how this team is gonna look with cap, uh, the amount of space we can do in the off season, the draft capital we have, and it's exciting to see. It's just, again, I said it before, if the Bills front office can put it all together, and we're living in that world
Yeah.
because they put it all together. All right, I think that was a great question to end on. Other than that, Notch, appreciate you being on the show. You were a great guest, and obviously we enjoyed your company a lot.
And once again, I'm just happy to be here, have an opportunity to talk to, like-minded fans who are really passionate about this team and what they're potentially going to lay out for the rest of the fans to celebrate for this season. So I'm just grateful to be able to be here, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go Bills.
For sure.
Go
Go
Bills.
If you'd like to join our show, you can email us at The Wandering Buffalo Podcast, or you can give us a DM on our social media accounts by searching The Wandering Buffalo Podcast.